The next step is roughing in the line sets. Key equipment shown here includes tubing of the right diameter with plenty of length for each indoor unit, and a tubing bender for when you need to make really tight turns. Before roughing in the line sets, double check that you're using the right size pipes. For multi-zone systems, remember it's generally the indoor unit that determines the pipe size. Double check the manual if you have any questions. Line sets are fairly expensive, so cutting what you need from longer rolls can help minimize waste. Make sure you keep the ends of the tubing capped or taped. This keeps them clean and dry until you're ready to make flares. Unroll the line sets carefully. Be mindful not to kink the tubing. And again, when running the tubing, do it carefully so you don't kink the pipes or damage the insulation. Carefully bend the tubing at elbows. If you need very tight bends, use tubing benders. If you need to move insulation while bending, be sure to replace it and seal the gap with tape appropriate for that insulation.
So at this point, I am just roughing these in. I will cut them to their exact lengths later.
Leaving a few extra inches on either end is a good practice in case you need to remake a flare. Work from the indoor unit towards the outdoor unit and secure the line set with clips or straps. Horizontal tubing needs to be supported at least every 6 feet, and vertical tubing should be supported at least every 10 feet. When running line sets in basements or attics, again, be sure to support the pipes properly. Install them out of the way, above head height, and avoid any high traffic areas or heat sources like flues. If you have any gaps or nicks in the insulation, make sure to repair that to prevent condensation. Most manufacturers say never to install vertical loops with extra pipe. These can trap refrigerant oil and lead to problems. If you're running into trouble because you're below the minimum line set length, you can use horizontal curves or loops to provide some slack. At the outdoor unit, again, leave a few extra inches to make flares and to remake flares if you run into problems.
Here's my exposed end of the copper here. I'm going to tape this off so that this copper line stays clean for future reuse. If there was going to be any delay between me cutting this copper and making the flares and tying things in, I would also want to tape these off.
Remember that any pipe insulation not in a line set cover needs some UV protection. This insulation has an exterior UV coating. Measure the line set length and record this both in your paperwork and on the inside of the access cover.